It's a new football season. Familiar names like Antonio Brown, he's changed teams, he's on the Raiders. Le'Veon Bell's with the New York Jets. Odell Beckham Jr.'s in Cleveland. However, the one thing that hasn't changed is where I put my money when I bet on games. MyBookie.ag is the place to bet on the biggest games every single week. MyBookie.ag has better bonuses and more prop bets than any other sportsbook, period. This year, they're even hosting the first online handicapping super contest. First place is guaranteed to win $100,000, and it only costs $100 to enter. All you have to do is pick 5 games against the spread every week, climb the leaderboard, and cash in your share of the huge prize pool. MyBookie.ag has live in-game betting on every NFL game. They also have the most rewarding player perks in the business. And for you fantasy guys out there, you can even bet the over-under on how many fantasy points a player will score in each game. When you sign up at MyBookie.ag, they'll match up to $1,000 for your first deposit with promo code Detroit100. Visit MyBookie.ag today. That's MyBookie.ag and use promo code Detroit100. That's DETROIT100 to get up to $1,000 in bonus money. MyBookie.ag is always the right play. You bet, you win, they pay.
Fellas, what if I told you there was a way you could increase your performance in the bedroom? You could get that extra confidence to please your lady friend. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Blue Chew is the fast and easy solution for any man looking to enhance their performance and step up their game. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. Why not be the MVP of the bedroom? You know that there's opportunity to enhance your experience, enhance the pleasure. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code Detroit. All you got to do is just pay the $5 shipping and handling fee. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Detroit. BLUE Chew.com. BlueChew.com, promo code Detroit to try it free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast.
Oh my God!
Welcome, everybody, to the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 97. We've done almost 100 of these bad boys. And on today's episode, we are going to discuss wrestlers shacking up and getting married. My heart's been broken. My girlfriend is cheating on me. We're going to talk all about that in the news and notes. Of course, AEW has the all-out pay-per-view this week. We're going to discuss that, as well as something AEW has to do to succeed on TNT, so you're going to want to stick around for that. Of course, we're going to review Raw and SmackDown. Doing this with me, as always, I'm your host, by the way, Adam the Jock Straczynski. Doing it with me, as always, is my cousin. He's the one. He's the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
Unlike WWE, here at the network, we value tag teams. Adam and I, great team. Vito and Jason, great team. What the hell did WWE do where you realize, okay, prior to the last 2 weeks, everything was running perfectly. You were elevating the OC. You had the War Raiders crushing enhancement talent. You had relevancy in the tag team division. You have the Usos, the New Day. You have prominent tag teams. And then Raw rolls around, and it's like they decided to say, okay, cohesiveness, longevity means nothing. We're going to put together Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, and they're going to destroy everybody in their path. And then you're going to have the OC fight the War Raiders to a DQ in a minute. I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is no way to utilize these tag teams. I'm like, okay, that can be what we saw on air, could be an initial script, but that should have been ripped up and gone, okay, this match can take place, this can go on, but the worst number one contenders are going to be on a pay-per-view. I'm like, okay, I can understand the argument that, okay, now Ziggler and Rude are involved in something serious, but we wanted to see them involved in something serious as singles competitors. I don't see Bobby Roode as, I know that he's had a history of tag team stuff and he can do it, but I think Bobby Roode's a star that you could elevate in a singles capacity. What they did with the tag team division, and then here's the crazy part, right? You have Sasha Banks, and she in essence comes out to do a promo, and you're like, oh boy, she's going to do this pipe bomb, and it's going to light the world on fire. And she comes out, and the words she used to describe the tag team division are, it really didn't mean anything to me. I'm pissed off. It didn't mean much to me to be the tag team champion. You're like, oh my God. Tag team wrestling is a staple of why a lot of people watch wrestling, and what you got on Monday was quite disappointing, and a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. Let's just cut to the chase here. It was dumb. So we'll get back to Sasha Banks here in a minute, but the tag team turmoil was frustrating because you've seen WWE put on really good gauntlet matches. It helped elevate a guy like Kofi Kingston. It helped elevate a guy like Mustafa Ali. It's helped elevate wrestlers in the recent past, like as far back as 3 months ago. It's helped elevate guys. And you figured, okay, cool. We can do something here with this tag team. I figured Anderson and Gallows would win this thing because them losing the belts, I didn't really understand why they lost the belts. It didn't really make any sense to me. So I figured this would be a bit of redemption for them. But to have them get disqualified against the Viking Raiders made no sense. And then to have guys like Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode win the whole thing made even less sense because, like you said, you have tag team wrestlers who are staples of this division, yet get beat by two guys who were just paired. What are you telling me here? That your tag team division isn't any good? Because that's essentially what you said. And then you have Sasha Banks come out and pretty much crap all over these brand new titles that you basically gave the women and that you put up on a pedestal for a little bit because she was upset because she lost. What? Again, bad writing, poor performances, and none of this makes sense. This is WWE at its finest, crapping all over its tag division. Very frustrating. Honestly, Anderson and Gallows should have went to AEW. I think they would have been if they would have left when their contracts expired, they would, I believe, be able to wrestle at All Out, and it would have been an awesome surprise. They could have jumped in one of these matches. They do have a couple tag matches that'll be taking place at All Out. They could have interfered in one of those, or what you could have done is you could have shelved them and waited till October, and almost like you had with the Outsiders when you had Kevin Nash and Scott Hall come over from WWE to WCW. You could have shelved them, and then you could have had these guys just show up, and you could have been like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? And just had them running amok. I think that'd have been a much better plan. Instead, they get the tag belts for a little bit, and then they lose the belts, and now they're essentially AJ Styles' valet. That's what it is. You've got two dudes who are the heat for AJ Styles. That's what we're talking about here. It's just bad writing, man. It's poor. It really is poor. Honestly, most of Raw and a lot of SmackDown was frustrating for me. Yeah. I was less than impressed this week with the wrestling that we got from WWE. However, I will say this much. All right, Ricochet and Drew McIntyre, I thought was a very good match. I thought that was a very good. I think both Raw and SmackDown had exceptional matches, and I think Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre was a very good match. I myself was surprised that Drew McIntyre lost. I thought Ricochet was going to lose this match, and the reason I thought that was I really feel like Drew McIntyre has kind of been lost in the shuffle I don't know if his character has a direction anymore. For the longest time, he was Shane McMahon's heater. He was doing different things, and now he's just kind of lost match after match after match. And him in the King of the Ring, I feel like he should have made it a little bit deeper. And you could have had him go a little bit deeper to where him and Cedric Alexander paired up, and then either Cedric Alexander I think Cedric Alexander going over would have been awesome, because it would have closed that story and you could have moved on, and then Drew McIntyre could have went on to do something a little bit more meaningful. Instead, you've got Drew McIntyre losing matches to Cedric Alexander, to Ricochet, to any other jabron on the roster. And this guy, we talked about him a couple months ago, him really being a main draw and being a guy who you could build around and should have a championship match and should have a championship belt in short time. And it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit different in that I had higher expectations for Ricochet. I just thought that maybe the draw was wrong. In order to maybe have this match with the quality with what we observed, it could have been definitely a King of the Ring final. It was good wrestling.
Yeah, it was. It was great wrestling. I thought it was exceptional. I loved it.
But right now, can I ask you this? Is Baron Corbin the odds-on favorite to win the King of the Ring? Right?
He has to be. Has to be.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, he has to be. It is kind of blows my mind, right?
I would be disappointed if he wasn't. I think the King of the Ring has to be a heel, and King Corbin kind of has a nice ring to it.
It kind of does. I'll be honest with you. I kind of like it. I don't really want Corbin to win, and I'm not really happy with a lot of the draws, but it's one of those things where it really feels like he is. After he beat The Miz, I was like, holy shit, are we for real? Corbin's going to go on and win this thing? And he beat The Miz, and now he gets Cedric Alexander, who's a little bit banged up. And I'm just like, shit, he is definitely at least making it to the finals. You know, it's kind of frustrating, but it does have a nice ring to it. And you're right, it needs to be a heel. And if Corbin wins it, I guess it'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where I am surprised he's getting this monster push, and I think that's what we can expect right now. What did you think of Braun Strowman and the AJ Styles match?
I guess if you're going to write history, if a referee can disqualify you for something you heard, that's so weird. I don't understand the nature of why you would put the ref in that position. It changes history. I mean, that's the first time I think I've ever seen a referee not see a chair shot and then all of a sudden go, oh, he's disqualified. It did remind me of Eddie Guerrero, but it wasn't like that. Eddie Guerrero would lie, cheat to win, but at the same time, I just was disappointed because you built this up for 3 hours, okay? And the nature of wrestling is, okay, you got to tease. You're telling us it's going to be AJ Styles versus Braun Strowman for the title. That's not the way you pay it off. You know, that's not how you reward your fans for sitting through that show.
Right.
To have that kind of ending, that's what pisses people off, is that there's got to be a right payoff. In a DQ situation, the wrong guy got DQ'd. The heel is supposed to get DQ'd in this situation. In the world of wrestling, why is Braun Strowman getting DQ'd? I was kind of confused, and it ruined the night of watching wrestling when that ending happened.
Yeah, I was kind of like, that's frustrating. I didn't like the way any of that ended. I didn't like the way any of that worked out. This match had so much promise, and it started off really, really good. And I don't have a problem with AJ Styles lying, cheating, and stealing a la Eddie Guerrero to win. I don't have a problem with that. But the way things kind of worked out, I was just kind of frustrated by it. AJ Styles can get disqualified and not lose his title. Why not disqualify him? Why disqualify Braun? It didn't make any sense. And just kind of the way it worked out, I was just kind of again, like you said, if I had to sit through that, I'd have been pissed. I stayed up and I watched it, and I was annoyed. I turned it off. I went to bed. I was like, this is dumb. And that's kind of how WWE wrestling had me feeling this week. I was like, this is dumb. The closing moments of both Raw and SmackDown had me scratching my head like, God, I hate this. Why do I watch this? Why do you guys like this podcast so much? Why do we have to do this? Because when you sit through 3 hours of wrestling to get that, it's kind of like getting kicked in the nuts. You're like, sweet, this is what I wasted my time on.
It's like there are raised expectations, and there's a lot of moments that failed to deliver. Everybody, I think, in the world was excited when Sasha Banks' music hit. But then her delivery, I don't understand, because it wasn't as passionate as what it needed to be. It kind of seemed like she didn't understand what she was trying to say. Maybe there was too much. Maybe it was a situation where she wasn't just used to standing in front of a microphone and standing in front of that audience for 10 minutes to give a promo. I thought that promo had the potential to match what Becky Lynch did, and it's really weird in that Becky's decent on the mic, but Sasha's the better wrestler, but you gave Sasha the mic, and it fell really short, and I was really disappointed. I'm like, this is what you did for the first 10 minutes? It was crazy. Mm-hmm. It was really, really disappointing, and I would say this, that storyline, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, I don't know if Sasha can carry her weight on the mic.
Yeah, I don't know either. That promo was a total letdown. Becky's amazing on the mic. She's great. I think in the ring, this is going to be a very good match. It's just getting to the match, I think, is going to be like pulling teeth. I think it's going to be a struggle. So just be prepared for that. I mean, Sasha's good, but I wouldn't say she's 5-tool player good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. All right, let's switch our gears to SmackDown. What'd you think?
It had the feeling of a show that Vince ripped up the script and rewrote it at 5 o'clock on Tuesday night. And that's essentially what happened. All of that being said, like I said earlier when we were reviewing Raw, both Raw and SmackDown both had fantastic matches or matches I felt they could have built around. And the one was Ricochet, Drew McIntyre. The one on SmackDown was Ali and Buddy Murphy. I was excited for this. I was excited for this last week when I seen these two paired up. And this was a fantastic match. I think it was a disservice that it was a first round match. And I think it was an even bigger disservice that the match only went about 12 to 15 minutes. This is a match I feel like should have really went almost 30. I thought this was an awesome match. Both these guys are extremely talented. Both these guys are the next big stars in WWE, as long as WWE doesn't screw it up. I thought Ali and Buddy Murphy, I thought this was a fantastic match, and I was upset that it was as early as we got it. I was upset that it was as quick as it was, and I was upset that this happened so soon in the King of the Ring. I really feel like this should have been a semifinal match. That's how good this was.
Solid. Your take is spot on, man. It's just the people who did the draw definitely didn't pay attention to potential value. But it's a King of the Ring, so maybe the way we should look at it is every match is important, no matter if it's a first-round match. And at the end of the day, these guys fought in the King of the Ring. And in terms of a match, I enjoyed it. A potential match of the week candidate.
Yeah, honestly, it could have been a match of the week candidate because it was so damn good. Honestly, it should have went for 30 minutes. I thought Randy Orton and Big E, I thought it was a really good violent television match. And when I say violent television match, I mean there was no blood, but it was super physical, super aggressive. I thought it told a very good story that is helping to continue on this Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston saga. I thought this was a nice match to kind of break things up a little bit. What did you think?
I definitely thought it was a great match. Violence on television, huh? You don't see that too often, but I like the way that Randy Orton is being portrayed. I just kind of got a vibe that he should be the next champion, don't you think? I think that his ascent is something that could be watched, and I think maybe it's the Rumble or Survivor Series, but Randy Orton, I think it's time to give him a little bit of a 3-4 month reign, and I'm looking forward to the continued feud with Kofi Kingston, but maybe potentially I'm leaning toward Randy Orton getting over. I think it's time. The guy's a staple. He's a guy that could almost go into that Brock Lesnar role where you don't need to see him every week, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, major matches at pay-per-views, extend that career, but that guy, really, as his career has progressed, that guy needs a belt. Not that he needs it to solidify his career, but it's a perfect fit. Randy Orton needs a title. I thought the match was epic, and it was like you said, the wrestling on television was good. It's just the storyline creativity, the extra sauce lacked in both shows.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And I think Randy Orton, if Randy Orton was to beat Kofi Kingston coming up at Clash of Champions, because that's when they're going to face each other next. If he does it in an underhanded way, if he somehow cheats to win and gets the belt, I'm cool with that. And then you have Kofi chase him, and you let Kofi chase him for a little bit, but you give Randy an extended run. I think that's solid. I like that. I think that's good. I think Randy Orton, like you said, like Brock Lesnar, doesn't need to be there every single night. He doesn't have to be. You can have him every other, or you can have him on big shows. He doesn't need to be there all the time. Honestly, I don't think any wrestler needs to be there every single night. It's not necessary. Let's fast forward to the very end, because, like I said, both Raw and SmackDown ended with me being like, that sucks. We end up getting, I guess, the culmination of this Roman Reigns, Eric Rowan, Daniel Bryan story. And what we end up getting is Roman Reigns in the ring, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan wanting an apology. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are in the back. They're demanding their apology. And Roman Reigns says, let's go to this video. He goes to this video. And it's essentially the same exact video that we've all seen 1,000 times. Somehow Eric Rowan gets doctored and put in it. And you see Eric Rowan leaving. Daniel Bryan freaks out and comes down to the ring after slapping Eric Rowan in the face, and then gets speared by Roman Reigns. So this is now going to continue. We're going to get a match here. It doesn't really tell you anything you needed to know. It's still this hanging Chad. I feel like this, in theory, this was a really good idea, but I feel like it's been so poorly executed. I'm over it, and I'm ready to move on to whatever's next.
Yeah, I'm not invested at all. I think this is probably one of the worst angles of the year, one in which I'm just like, all right, cut to the chase. Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, let's go. Why is this being put together in such a slow manner? I think with each week, this angle is getting more and more panned, and I think each week that passes, you're losing more fans, which is not the purpose of a storyline. The purpose of a storyline is with each show, with each promo, that you want to potentially increase involvement. So for this feud, I would be okay with when the match happens, it's a 3-minute squash match and we move on.
Yeah, I want it to be done. I'm over it. Dude, it's brutal. Like, I'm just tired of it. It's not good. For me, I think overall, I think SmackDown was a little bit better. When I say a little bit, I mean super marginally better. I'm not sure how you feel about this.
Yeah, I'll take it. I think the wrestling was better on SmackDown, even though it did appear to be a little bit disorganized. The wrestling on the show was much better. And when you have a King of the Ring match with the quality of Murphy Ali, I'll definitely give SmackDown a thumbs up.
SmackDown has the lead 59-36.5, as well as a no credit for Raw. Let's transition into AEW. AEW is having their final big pay-per-view before they hit broadcast television on TNT in October. They are set for All Out this weekend, and we've got a few matches that are really interesting, and it looks like it's going to be a very, very good card. So I just kind of want to work our way through the card, just kind of discuss what we're expecting and what we're looking forward to here. On this card, we're going to have AEW the World Championship match. This will be to crown their first AEW World Champion. It's going to be between Chris Jericho and Adam Hangman Page. What are you expecting from this? What are you looking forward to from this?
I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to win, who's going to be the guy that's going to carry the mantle heading into TV. It should be Chris Jericho, but at the end of the day, I want to see a great match. I want to see Hangman Page in the ring with a legend, and I want to see Hangman Page elevated. His stock is already rising, but when you're put in this position, it means it's go time. It means you got to get yourself over, win or lose. And no matter what happens, if he's a title holder or if he loses, he's got to walk away from this match a bigger star. And I think that's why they put him in the ring with Chris Jericho. It will happen.
Yeah, I think you're spot on here. It is one of those things where he has to elevate his game. He's got to step up. I think Chris Jericho wins this, and I think Chris Jericho should win this because he is the name. He is the legend. He has taken a lot of credit for a lot of things, and it's just his character being his character, and I love it. It's great. But Chris Jericho should be your first AEW World Champion. Kenny Omega will take on Pac. Now, this was some last-minute match setting. That's because Jon Moxley is dealing with a case of MRSA in his elbow. We found out last week that Jon Moxley was going to have to pull out of All Elite Wrestling's all-out competition. So his match with Kenny Omega has been scrapped momentarily. They were able to get Pac in. Apparently, this was some really quick, kind of sporadic sprawling around. Like, we've got to get somebody to fill this match. What can we do? Pac's a big name. Pac is a big name. If you're a WWE fan, that is Neville. Pac will fill in for Jon Moxley. The way I understand this was supposed to work out, Pac was supposed to show up at the October TNT first episode of All Elite Wrestling. He was supposed to show up at the very first television show. So they just kind of expedited some things and moved things up to kind of fill. This should be a good match. Kenny Omega's a great wrestler. Pac is incredible. I'm expecting a fun match. I'm expecting a very good match. Kenny Omega, every match Kenny Omega has had, his last, I don't know, I want to say 10 or 15 have been at least 4 out of 5 stars. I expect no less.
Exactly. Now, it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's not that big a deal because you got to get Jon Moxley healthy. He's got to be available for TV. I know you're not going to pay off the match at the pay-per-view, but at the same time, the health of the wrestler is important, and Jon Moxley, if he's there every week and is impactful from October to the end of the year, it's no problem. Look, this is a pay-per-view. These things happen, and you just got to move forward.
Yeah, you do. AAA's Tag Team Championship, the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks in a ladder match. This match also has some injuries that we have to be concerned about. Pentagon Jr. is dealing with a little bit of a banged-up knee. So not everybody in this match is healthy. You got to kind of watch what's going to happen here. I'm not sure if it's going to be as crazy and as high-flying as these two normally put on a show. Should be a good match. It just, I think it might be taken down a little bit.
Really? Why?
Just because Pentagon's dealing with that knee injury. I don't know if he's going to be able to go all out. He's going to try to protect himself. He's been wrestling through this injury, and as he's been wrestling through the injury, he's been taking less bumps, and he's been trying to, like I said, protect his body, just because he wants to be as healthy as possible to get to this match. And I just don't think he's trying to injure himself. So I don't know if he's going to be able to go all out for this match.
Okay.
All right. Next, we've got Cody versus Shawn Spears with Tully Blanchard. This should be a good match. This really should be a good match. Cody's a great wrestler. Shawn Spears, very good wrestler. He is a perfect 10, if you will. I find it interesting that Tully Blanchard's going to be involved in this. I find that to be very interesting. Do you have high hopes for this match?
I do. It's a great story being told. Shawn Spears is a star. Cody Rhodes is a star. The involvement of who's going to be the guy that's going to be involved with Cody Rhodes, likely, spoiler alert, it's probably going to be Arn Anderson, but it could be a total surprise. I think the match in and of itself has the chance to steal the show, and it's a story that, you know, in terms of AEW, has really represented what the company can be, taking a star like Shawn Spears and repackaging him into somebody that could be in the ring with Cody Rhodes and it be believable. So this match is going to be high caliber, high quality. Can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a really good one. It's been a fun build to get to this point, so it should be a good story. The Best Friends versus Dark Order. The winner's going to get a bye in the Tag Team Championship tournament. This, too, should be another good match. Best Friends are a lot of fun to watch. I think this will be another solid match. Again, more tag team wrestling. This is where I thought Gallows and Anderson could have maybe interfered a little bit, made their name if they were done with their WWE contracts, or like I said before, maybe shelve them until they're on TNT, until AEW's on TNT. After that, we've got Joey Janela versus Jimmy Havoc versus Darby Allin. This should be a dark match. This should be a gory match. This could get bloody. I'm expecting somebody to bleed here.
Are you?
Yes. Jimmy Havoc is crazy. Darby Allin is nuts, and Joey Janela does whatever it takes. So this could be bloody. This is where I think most of the blood gets spilled. We also have Rio and Shahida. This should be a good match. I think this will probably go early on in the evening. This will probably happen after the Women's Casino Battle Royal. Now, with the Women's Casino Battle Royal, the winner is going to receive a shot at the inaugural Women's Championship title. Right now, we've got Britt Baker in it, Jazz, Sadie Gibbs, Teal Piper, Big Swole, Ariel Monroe, Brandy Rhodes, Nyla Rose, Allie, Yuka Sasaki, and I have a Lucille. She's from what was it? It's the Lucha Wrestling that was on Spike TV.
Lucha Underground?
Yeah, she was on Lucha Underground. She's a very good wrestler if you haven't seen her. She's a very good wrestler. But she's from Lucha Underground. So that should be a good match too. I think Brandy Rose is who they're building this entire thing around. So expect Brandy Rose to win this.
Yeah, the women's wrestling I like, but at the same time, I think they could do a better job of enhancing the storyline, telling more of the stories. But this has an opportunity. I think this match could set forth the way in which the women are viewed and how some of the wrestlers need to get themselves over so that when TV starts, you can have meaningful matches. Because right now, you could say, if you wanted to disparage it, that the women could be kind of overlooked and you could maybe take a piss break in this one. But at the same time, there is something to be said for these women having the opportunity to showcase themselves. I'm not just confident that they will right now. I think over time, if you do shine the light on these women, there'll be an opportunity. But just right now, they just haven't been at the top of the card. I think basically what I'm saying is they need a superstar female to show up on that roster. They need their Sasha Banks. They need their it girl. And right now, they got a bunch of mid-card talent. They need their shining star, and maybe they're on the verge of creating it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. They do need to develop this women's division, and they do need a big star to help carry that torch. We'll have Private Party and Angelico and Jack Evans in the buy-in pre-show. It's another tag match. That should be solid as well. I think this is going to be a good card. I think it's going to be a fun card. All Elite Wrestling hasn't disappointed us yet. They have had some issues with their streaming, but they haven't disappointed us yet. I'm expecting this to be another great pay-per-view. We'll probably be talking about it at this time next week, so it should be a really, really good one. We've discussed a little bit about All Elite Wrestling in October making its television debut on TNT. And we've talked about some stumbling blocks that this company could have. And I kind of want to pick your brain, and I want to go back to that. What do you think is a major issue that could really trip up AEW on TNT?
Okay, now with the news that NXT is on USA at the same time, the stakes are raised. And right now, early on, NXT is better than AEW in terms of the storylines, the bigger stars, and things like that. So in terms of what the company has to do, they got to make more stars. They got to have more people that are over. They got to highlight more of these individuals. Potentially speaking, you got to have some great matches that people are going to look forward to, because right now, you could legitimately argue that people will DVR AEW and watch NXT because there's a lot of stars, there's a lot of great matches, there's a lot of talent over there at NXT. And at the same time, head-to-head, there's a couple matches on AEW that you could watch, but is AEW right now must-see day one? NXT is going to have a 2 to 3 week head start, so there's that factor. So AEW has to create more stars.
Yeah, I think you're right. AEW does need to create more stars. I think doing that, though, the help with that, commentary is a big one. And we've discussed some of the issues that they've had with their commentary team with some of their earlier pay-per-views. So I think they have to nail down what their commentary team's going to be, whether it's going to be Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, Alex Marvez, whoever's going to fill out that commentary team. I think they have to nail them, and they have to get them down pat. And then those guys have to do a really good job of getting the guys over and getting the talents over so they can find their niche. AEW is a little bit different than WWE, right? It's a little bit edgier. It's a little bit more, it has a little bit of like an indie vibe to it, but it also has this bad boy, we're going against the grain, we're doing our own thing, screw you, we don't care what the man says type of feel to it. And I think the commentators and the wrestlers really have to strike that chord and bond with that part of the audience. And I think if they can hit those things out of the park, it's going to really help solidify them and really help them out and help them get to where I think they're going to be a major player. And I think they're going to be good. So I look forward to October. October is going to be interesting. NXT is going to start in September on USA Network, and they're going to get roughly a month head start, maybe 3-week head start on AEW. I am really looking forward to AEW. I want something different. Myself, I tell you all the time, I really am tired of WWE. I find WWE to sometimes be good in small bunches, right? I'm one of those people who gets really into wrestling and really into WWE, and then I've got to go away from it for a little bit because I get burned out, because I get so frustrated with all of it. And I find myself getting burned out and frustrated with it because it's just a lot of – we just talked about how bad Raw and SmackDown were. And there were 2 really quality matches on 5 hours of programming, and that's really what I had to hold on to. And I'm now looking for something else. So I'm really looking forward to AEW. I know NXT is good. I am aware. I watch NXT. I think NXT is great. I think some of the best content that WWE puts out is stuff that Triple H puts together in NXT. All that being said, I don't want to devote 2 more hours of my life to NXT or to WWE because they already get 5. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to devote that to something else, something that gets me going. So I can't wait for October to roll around.
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes.
All right, so everybody's getting married. Everybody. Finn Balor got married this weekend to Fox Sports host Veronica Rodriguez. She's hot. It was a very small private wedding. WWE's Peyton Royce and AEW's Shawn Spears, formerly the Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10, they seemingly got married over the weekend as well. They've been engaged for a little bit. And, oh, hey, guys, if you didn't know, my girlfriend, Becky Lynch, bitch. No, I'm just playing. I love her. I love her. She is engaged to Seth Rollins. So they'll probably make beautiful babies. And my heart has been ripped out and just thrown on the grass. It's pretty brutal. We also have an announcement from AJ Styles. AJ Styles on Lillian Garcia's Clashing Glory podcast basically announced that he signed a 5-year deal with WWE when his contract was done. So he re-upped for 5 more years, and he said after this contract is over, he will retire. He is done. He says he needs to be done because he needs to be there for his kids. So we do have an end date to AJ Styles' career tentatively. Currently, he is 42, so he will most likely be close to 47 when he goes to retire. Also, an update on Tony Schiavone. He will be joining AEW's commentary team. We just talked about how the commentary team needs to get nailed down, but it will be down the line. Currently, he is doing commentary for Georgia's football team, the University of Georgia, as well as the Atlanta Braves AAA baseball team. So his hands are a little bit full. In the meantime, he will be doing other things with AEW, but for the time being, he will be doing other things and eventually incorporating himself onto AEW's commentary team. And that's this week's news and notes, guys.
Great wrestling podcast, sir. You can follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSCROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Thanks so much to the fine sponsor of the network, the Flick Chat application. If you've agreed or disagreed with anything that we've said, head on over and download the Flick Chat application. It's Detroit Sports' newest headquarters. We can have large conversations via the group chat, and it's really fun during the wrestling shows and during Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. And especially during AEW's pay-per-view, we're definitely going to be chatting and definitely getting in the mix, riling it up there over there at Flick Chat. All you got to do is download the app and hit that plus button and enter all lowercase DSP, and you're in the group. Or find us on social media at Detroit Podcast and click the invite link. It's definitely going to be worth your while. Thanks, cuz. Look forward to the next one.
Absolutely, man. This was a good one. This was a good time. Look forward to All Out this weekend, and I look forward to AEW coming in October. September is going to be a fun time, too, with NXT. We're going to have a ton of wrestling to get into.
No doubt. Talk soon.
All right, brother. Be good.